bring their ass here and start building them desks and stuff in America, because he's going to make America great again. Let's go, Donald Trump!
Politics like that?
Nope.
It's not good for the country. Who does that? Yeah, your team got an offense and a defense. They're not supposed to be enemies. The enemy is the other side.
Yes.
Never talk about it. I'm not that controversial.
President Trump was accommodating. I'm going to give the man this. The man was very congenial.
Just show me what he's done for black people so I can understand, because right now I don't.
All right. Go on and collect.
Kamala Harris for president.
Steve Harvey might have finally met his match, and this time, it's not some tabloid headline or clickbait drama spinning out of control. It's Katt Williams. And when Katt starts talking, the internet doesn't just listen, it pauses. This wasn't your usual comedy bit or a light-hearted jab. This was a straight-up declaration of war on the MIC. During his sit-down on Club Shay Shay with Shannon Sharpe, Katt came locked and loaded. No jokes, no...
Kamala Harris and the Democratic plantation is paying you celebrities, paying you to shame black people into voting. Y'all know we not going to get...
No filters, just pure, uncut truth. He aired out the whole comedy industry, calling out fake friends, shady business moves, and stolen material like he'd been holding receipts for years. But the moment Katt dropped Steve Harvey's name, the entire room froze like somebody hit pause. He said, "You can't call yourself a king of comedy when your whole career is built on stealing from other comedians." No punchline, no sugarcoating, just truth that hit the internet like a bomb. Social media went wild instantly, clips everywhere, fans debating, comedians choosing sides. And to really get why it hit so deep, you got to rewind. Steve Harvey wasn't always the clean-cut, suit-wearing TV mentor we see now. This is the same Steve who, according to Katt, studied Mark Curry's whole sitcom, then flipped it into the Steve Harvey show using the same blueprint. Katt wasn't just throwing shade, he was unpacking evidence. He claimed Steve's whole image, the fancy suits, the smooth-talking wisdom, the I-came-from-nothing grind story, was all part of Hollywood script. People forget. Katt said, "I was the one who was really homeless. That's my story, not his." And when you look back, the numbers don't lie. Steve was already pulling in big money doing multiple shows a week, so that living in his car sob story, Katt called it a PR stunt disguise as inspiration. Then came the dagger, the Kings of Comedy era, late 90s. Bernie Mac, Cedric the Entertainer, D.L. Hughley, legends. That tour built an empire. But according to Katt, Steve didn't earn that crown. He borrowed it. And in the comedy game, that's the ultimate disrespect. Because stealing a man's jokes, that's like stealing his soul. It's a betrayal that don't fade with time. And here's where it got...
This country, Donald Trump is not going to be that bad. Don't run.
But even crazier, Katt wasn't the first to say it. Years ago, Mark Curry himself called Steve out for jacking his material word for word. Mark said he turned on the Steve Harvey show one night and nearly fell out his chair because he was watching his own jokes being performed by somebody else. He tried confronting Steve, but according to Mark, Steve just laughed and said, "That's your business." Cold. Straight cold. That moment told the entire comedy world everything they needed to know. Steve wasn't just inspired. He was allegedly flipping other people's hustle into his own spotlight. So when Katt Williams brought it all back up, it didn't sound like bitterness. It sounded like long-awaited payback. Katt's been around long enough to spot the difference between authentic grind and industry fakery. And when he said, "You can't preach about God on TV when you've been playing dirty behind the scenes," the internet exploded. That line cut deep because fans have been whispering that same thing for years. The split between motivational Steve and manipulative Steve finally hit the surface. And let's keep it real, Steve Harvey's track record ain't spotless. Behind all those motivational speeches and big smiles sits a history people conveniently ignore. From messy relationship drama and cheating rumors to that infamous staff...
This is sad. We've never been here before. be a movie star. There are 30,000 new scripts in Hollywood every year. Not one of them asks for a country bumpkin black dude that can't talk good Oba-Kaby and look like Mr. Potato. Ever been at the point where neither option is good for us in real life?
No.
This is a different conversation. This is, would you rather go back with your ex or would you rather...
Email where he told his own employees, "Don't talk to me. Don't approach me. Don't even look at me." That's not exactly the humble mentor vibe he sells on TV. And Katt didn't hold back one bit. He said Steve's real talent wasn't comedy, it was control. According to Katt, Steve mastered the art of using charm, money, and faith as shield while stepping over everyone who helped him rise. That wasn't just shade. That was a straight-up expose dressed like truth. And here's where it got wild. Katt came locked and loaded with receipts. He took it straight back to the Kings of Comedy era, saying Bernie Mac was a real people's king, the rawest, the funniest, the one who didn't need a fake persona to get laughs. But according to Katt, Hollywood didn't want real. They wanted polished, predictable, and controllable, and Steve fit that image perfectly. That hit a nerve. Fans had always felt Bernie never got the flowers he truly deserved, especially after his passing. And when Steve slid into that king spot like it was always meant to be his, people started seeing the cracks in the story. Even D.L. Hughley once hinted that Bernie and Steve didn't exactly vibe toward the end, brushing it off as creative differences. But Katt's take made it sound way deeper, like betrayal deep. He accused Steve of using Bernie's death as a career reset, rewriting history in his favor. He painted Steve as a man who saw loss as an opportunity, and that hit fans hard. Bernie wasn't just another comic. He was authenticity. And the idea that someone cashed in on that legacy, it made people furious. Then Katt jumped to modern-day Steve, the talk show saint, the relationship guru, the man preaching faith to millions. And he dropped the line that broke the internet. How can you teach morals when your whole career being built on taking from others? The room went dead silent. Katt called him a walking contradiction, a man who sold loyalty and God on TV while practicing opportunism behind the scenes. Within hours, that clip flooded TikTok, X, and YouTube. Half the internet called Katt bitter. The other half said, "Finally, someone said it." But the truth? Katt wasn't hating, he was exposing. He said, "When money came, Steve switched up. He went corporate. He stopped being one of us." That line hit deep. Steve built his empire on relatability, but Katt flipped the narrative, turning him from the underdog into the sellout. Suddenly, that Family Man image didn't look so perfect. Fans started replaying old interviews, spotting moments of arrogance, passive shade toward peers, and flashes of ego they'd ignored for years. And once the internet starts connecting dots, it's a wrap. No PR team, no smile, no Family Feud charm can undo that. When Katt's interview blew up, fans demanded networks cut ties. People compared him to other fallen TV hosts who got exposed for being fake. But what made this thing different was that it didn't come from gossip blogs. It came from inside the circle. Someone who saw the game from the inside and finally spoke out. That's what made this hit personal. For the first time in decades, people started asking if Steve's Man of God image was just a cover. The backlash was vicious. Clips resurfaced of him talking down to guests, throwing shade at colleagues, and letting that ego peek through. Suddenly, that charming uncle energy started to feel more like a mask. Even producers were reportedly nervous, because once the public starts doubting your authenticity, it's nearly impossible to rebuild. And the whispers came fast. Word was, Steve's new projects were under review. Networks didn't want the smoke. Nobody wanted to stand next to the man the internet now labeled a Hollywood phony. Meanwhile, Katt stayed cool. No posts, no rants, no tweets. Just silence, letting the truth do the work. And sure, Steve's bounced back from scandal before. The Miss Universe mess, leaked emails, defending shady celebs. But this time felt different. Because this wasn't media gossip. This was a peer saying, "You've been fake since day one." That hit different. Fans started digging deeper, pulling up clips of tension between Bernie and Steve, and then Monique's old interview resurfaced, the one where she said Steve sold her out for Hollywood approval. She even quoted him saying, "It's not about integrity, it's about the money game." Back then, folks brushed it off. Now, it sounded like a missing puzzle piece. Katt didn't just diss Steve, he dismantled him, piece by piece, layer by layer. He called him a puppet, mocked his acting, even clowned Think like a man, saying, Steve's been pretending his whole life. And what made it sting most wasn't anger, it was delivery. Calm, precise, unbothered. The audience didn't laugh because it was funny. They laughed because it was true. That kind of truth doesn't need setup or punchline. It just lands, and it stays. And now, that silence is starting to sound like confirmation. Every day Steve stays quiet. The louder the internet gets, dissecting old interviews, pulling up old co-star drama, and digging through his past like detectives on a mission. Even his most loyal fans are starting to ask, if it's all lies, why isn't he saying anything? That's the worst kind of PR crisis, when silence starts speaking louder than denial. And according to insiders, Steve's team knows it. They've been scrambling behind closed doors, debating whether to clap back or wait it out. But either way, the damage is done, the shine is gone, and the internet smells blood. And that's what makes this moment so dangerous for him. Because Katt didn't just expose Steve, he flipped the mirror on Hollywood itself. He called out the entire system that rewards image over integrity, and Steve just happens to be the poster boy. That's why people are glued to this. It's not just one man fall from grace. It's a cultural wake-up call. The streets are saying what executives won't. Maybe Steve's empire wasn't built on faith. Maybe it was built on finesse. And that idea alone is shaking the room. Every clip that resurfaces hits harder than the last. That old Monique interview, viral again. That Miss Universe blunder, reinterpreted as karma. Even old Bernie Mac footage is trending, fans calling it the real king speaking from the grave. It's like the internet's rewriting the history books in real time, and Steve's legacy is being edited out of his own story. That's the power of authenticity. Once people sense you've been selling a lie, they stop buying everything else. And here's the thing, Katt didn't even have to shout. He just told the truth with that calm, confident tone that said, I've been waiting to say this. No anger, no gimmicks, just honesty that hit like a sermon of its own. That's why it went viral, not because it was scandalous, but because it felt real. And in a world built on fake smiles and brand deals, that kind of real can ruin empires. So now, the question everyone's asking isn't if Steve's image will recover, it's who's next. Because Katt didn't just shake one man. He cracked open a door the whole industry's been trying to keep shut. And with every clip, every meme, every thread, the message is clear. The crown of king of comedy doesn't belong to the one with the biggest platform. It belongs to the one who never sold out. And right now, that's not Steve. It's Katt. But the wildest part? Katt didn't just call out Steve. He exposed a pattern. He said, this industry loves fake smiles and safe personalities. They pick who they can control and push them to the front, while the real ones get sidelined. And when you look at names like Bernie Mac, Monique, and even Katt himself, he's not lying. Hollywood's been recycling the same formula for decades, and Steve just became the face of it. Now the internet's divided, half defending the legend, half saying he was never real to begin with. Either way, that untouchable Uncle Steve image, gone. You can feel the energy shift. People are tired of being preached at by millionaires who don't live their own sermons. They want truth, raw, flawed, unfiltered truth. And that's exactly why Katt's words hit harder than any PR scandal ever could. He didn't chase clicks or shout for attention. He just spoke the truth. And truth has a habit of echoing, especially when it's been silenced too long. Behind the curtain, insiders say panic's in full swing. Cancelled appearances, rewritten statements, crisis meetings. But how do you clean up a mess when the stain is your reputation? Every day of silence feels like confirmation. And online, time moves fast. By the time Steve finds the right words, the audience might already be gone. Because once the crowd stops believing, no comeback speech can save you. Katt Williams didn't just bruise a brand. He cracked the whole illusion. He proved that no matter how polished someone looks, you can't outshine the truth forever. Fame fades, but receipts don't. And that's what this moment is really about. Not tearing down a legend, but revealing the cost of selling your soul for spotlight. Steve's empire might still stand, but his image? Permanently stained. He is no longer the wise mentor or moral coach. He's just another man facing the mirror he used to hold up for others. Katt didn't destroy Steve Harvey. He unmasked him. And now the whole world's watching, one man scrambling to rebuild, and another standing calm, knowing he just said what everyone else was too scared to. That's power. The kind you can't buy, brand, or script. The kind that only truth can give. Whatever happens next, this moment changed comedy, cracked Hollywood's glass smile, and reminded everyone that fame without integrity always collapses. The masks are slipping. The truth is trending. And the question is, can Steve Harvey ever bounce back? Or did Katt Williams just pull off the biggest exposure of the year? Drop your thought below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Because trust me, this story is only getting started.